Nia, you're muted.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Mo. Yes, I'm going to pass it to Ema to start off our staff introductions for today.
Thank you, Nia. So,
Mhm.
hello, everyone. My name is Ema. I am a partnerships manager for the Ray Fellowship Program. I am based out of Southeast Michigan. So, that's the lands of the Council of the Three Fires people. That's the Ojibwe, Odawa, and Potawatomi peoples. And I'm not sure what else we're supposed to share for our staff introduction. So, I will leave it there and pass it on to Mo.
Thanks, Ema. I'm Mo. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm one of the program coordinators at the Ray Fellowship. My background is in the nonprofit sector. I actually am from New York originally, moved to Marietta, Georgia about 2 years ago now, and very excited to be a part of the Ray team and to meet you all. And I will pass it to Nia.
Awesome. Hello again. I am Nia. I use she, they pronouns. I am the communications manager here for the Ray Fellowship Program. I am calling in from Mesa, Arizona, also known as the lands of the Hohokam peoples. And yeah, I'm super happy that you all are here. I hope you all take a lot from this. Hope you learn a lot. Hope you get excited. Hopefully, this makes it easier for you as you're moving through the application process. And yeah, hope you have a good time today. I'll pass it to Tia.
Hi everyone, my name is Tia Tucker, she, her pronouns. I'm calling in from Columbus, Georgia, also known as the lands of the Makovi Hichiti peoples. I am a program coordinator. Again, I said my focus usually being in systems, communication, and programming. And I am also happy to have you all as here as well. If you are curious about the native lands that we are announcing, I will put the link in the chat. It's something that we like to do, acknowledge the lands that we live on. So if you also like to know what not land you are on and have those acknowledgments, you can look that up. And I will pass it back to Nia, I believe.
Thank you, Tia. Appreciate that. So, yes, we're going to start off talking about ELP. And so, ELP stands for the Environmental Leadership Program, which is the umbrella that the RAY program is underneath. And their mission is support visionary, action oriented, and diverse leadership for a just and sustainable future. And under the ELP umbrella, there are 3 program areas and 3 fellowships and networks, all of that. There is a national and regional fellowship. There is the Doris Duke Conservation Scholars Program Alumni Network, as well as the Ray Fellowship Program. Oops, I went backwards. All right, now, Dr. Young, this is who our program is named after. She is recognized as the first African-American woman to earn a doctorate in zoology. She completed her doctorate at the University of Pennsylvania in 1940 and went on to teach and conduct research at several universities, including many HBCUs. In addition to zoology, Dr. Young studied biology, marine biology, and published her research in various journals. And actually, in 2005, she was recognized in a congressional resolution on the significance of African American women that had impact in the scientific community in the United States. So she had a very interesting journey. And I think she really encapsulates like what we want to do here in the Ray program, which is build spaces for people of color to enter this field and, do great things because we represent the communities on the front line of a lot of environmental change. So I will pass it on to Ema, who will talk about where we started.
Thank you, Nia. So as the slide says, you can, of course, see where we started and how we started. Of course, the Green 2.0 report was where our initial assessment started, and the Green 2.0 report, the one from 2014, gave us a view of diversity in the conservation sector. So it assessed gender and demographic data between hundreds of environmental nonprofits. And so it was found that the average amount of people of color on the staff was 16%, despite people of color making up 36% of staff in these environmental nonprofits. So with that assessment, we sort of evolved the conversation to the point where we're questioning what else is needed in this field. So, of course, diversity isn't enough. We are thinking through the frameworks of DEI, DEIJ, and IDEAL. There are many different acronyms. So currently our program, the Ray Fellowship Program, uses the IDEAL framework, which of course stands for inclusivity, diversity, equity, access, and liberation. So we go a step beyond to think about how we're implementing these frameworks in our organizations and personally in the Ray Fellowship Program. So the program started originally as a focus on marine conservation, and one of the organizations was Ocean Conservancy. And so they really wanted to work towards changing the face of marine conservation. And so in conjunction with ELP, Ocean Conservancy started the Ray Fellowship Program. And so that was back in 2015, 2016. That was the first iteration of the fellowship. We have this picture here that shows the first round of fellows, and I actually don't know where all of the first like cohort ended up, but we do have some people in this picture. We have staff in ELP and representation on the board as well. So we like to have lots of network building, of course. We say Ray's mission, of course, is our goal is to build an environmental future that is represented by, inclusive of, and led by diverse communities and an array of perspectives and experiences. So ELP and Ray sort of show the power of networks. There's, like I said, the folks who are on the board and the staff. It shows how some of these original cohort and the cohorts that have come after have benefit from the wider ELP network. Network building is a very important piece of the Ray Fellowship Program. And so, yeah, we just want to acknowledge the power of networks for transformative impact. Next slide, please. So we're going from how we started to where we are currently. And so, of course, from 2016 to now, we are currently graduating, we'll be graduating our 7th cohort this upcoming July, and to date have more than 70 fellows, 75 fellows to have been a part of the Ray Fellowship Program. Another interesting tidbit is that the cohort sizes have ranged from anywhere from 5 to 20 fellows. So we are increasing the amount of fellows that we have. We are increasing the impact that we're having. And so that's just something to consider as you're thinking of applying to the program and like how that network building piece will play a role. So we also say that we utilize IDEAL for our fellowship and supervisor programming. This is something that or a framework rather, that we have adapted from the Center for Excellence in Nonprofits. They have a workshop, they have several workshops even that focus on, again, inclusion, diversity, equity, access, and liberation. So we see liberation as like, how do you bring your authentic self? How do you be your authentic self in your chosen sector, in your chosen field? So the third bullet, a diverse network of partners in clean energy and conservation, is also where we are. We have had more than almost like 30, I believe, new, current, and former host organizations that we partner with. as a part of the Ray Fellowship Program. So we have a wide range of partners and host organizations that, again, are in the network. And so this is just a really strong network building piece that we continue to build upon. Next slide, please. So this slide, the purpose of the Ray Fellowship Program, of course, for fellows is to build career pathways in conservation and clean energy. So we identified that this field, the field of environmental focus, like having an environmental focus broadly, but of course towards conservation and clean energy, those sectors have historically excluded a large amount of people. And so we feel that having pathways for those excluded groups will make it so that, again, we're having a diverse range of perspectives. We're also equipping fellows with tools and support to grow and serve as leaders within the environmental field. And we're also promoting inclusivity and culture shift at environmental organizations. So again, it's very important to ensure that we're gathering a wide range of perspectives, just because that, of course, like helps to keep rather, you know, the fields fresh. It helps to keep, like, you know, the pulse on like what is happening currently in the movement. So yes, next slide, please. So this slide, we have the logos of several of our partners. A few of our member organizations are shown here that are specifically from cohort 7, but many of our partners continue to renew contracts from one year to the next. So we have, so for instance, Pew Charitable Trust, Mystic River Watershed Association, ACEEE, so American Council for Energy Efficiency, excuse me. So yeah, you can of course see many of the other ones there, but yeah, these are some of our partners, just so you all have an idea. Next slide, please. I believe this one is Mo.
Thanks, Emma. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the benefits that you would receive as a member of this fellowship. This opportunity offers you a 2-year placement with a host organization, which will provide a unique and enriching start to your professional journey. So what are some of those benefits? Well, let's start with compensation and benefits. The position comes with a fully paid package featuring a minimum starting salary of $48,000, along with comprehensive benefits to support your well-being. In this economy, and the price of eggs is quite quite large, as we know. We want to make sure that not only are you thriving in your career, but also in your personal home life. We all have bills to pay and we all need healthcare. Ray has you covered there. Another way we have you covered is by relocation support. If the host organization you're placed in is within another state, we have you covered. Our relocation support ensures a smooth transition as you embark on this new chapter. We're really invested in making sure that everything is smooth sailing as you connect not only with the new chapter of your life, a new job, but a new location as well. And so to that end, another area we are invested in is in your growth. We understand the importance of continuous learning. You don't stop learning after you graduate college. Life is a long, never-ending journey of learning, and so that's why we provide you with a $1,800 a year professional development fund. This helps you empower yourself, invest in your skills and knowledge. We want to make sure that you continue to learn and grow and discover new things about yourself from the start of this fellowship until you graduate and beyond. Now, what those PDs can look like can vary depending on your unique needs and interests, and the Ray team is here to help advocate on your behalf to make sure that you get into the conferences, the classes, and the experiences that will really shape you into a well-rounded and successful professional in your job and beyond. In that same vein, we want to highlight the mentorship and the networking aspect. Our mentorship programs are a cornerstone of the Ray Fellowship experience. As a fellow, you will be paired with your peers, seasoned professionals in the environmental, conservation, or clean energy field, as well as support from mentors that you'll gain at your host organization. Now, these mentors will provide personalized guidance, they will share their own career journey, and they'll help you navigate challenges and opportunities. The mentorship relationship is really designed to be mutual beneficial, to foster that supportive connection that can oftentimes extend beyond the fellowship period. Another thing to note is that the Ray Fellowship creates a dynamic community of like-minded individuals who all share a passion for environmental work. So fellows will have the opportunity to connect and learn from their peers through regular virtual, in-person meetups, and collaborative initiatives. So this network is not just a professional resource, it's really a community of individuals from diverse backgrounds and experiences, and it's all about sharing in that collaboration and camaraderie. And as we mentioned at the start of this prevention, environmental sectors have historically severely lacked diversity. And so this fellowship actively addresses this by providing a platform for BIPOC professionals to connect with each other. And so in summary, this opportunity is not just a job, it's really a comprehensive package to kickstart your career with support, growth, and community. Next slide, please. So now I'm going to talk about your responsibilities as a Ray Fellow. So one of those main responsibilities is active communication and community building. So fellows will be actively engaging in communication efforts and contributing to building a supportive community within the fellowship. This fellowship can really only be successful by the time that each member puts in to get to know one another, participate, engage, and learn. So to help facilitate this, we have dedicated Ray programming time. As a Ray Fellow, you will want to allocate 4 hours per week for Ray programming. And this is really to ensure active participation in fellowship-related activities and initiatives. So some of that will include monthly cohort calls and pod meetings. You'll be expected to attend monthly scheduled cohort calls and participate in pod meetings, which will be led by a designated Ray staff member. This is really to ensure that we're fostering that collaboration, and also the pod meetings in particular are designed to be for a more intimate setting of getting to know each other, especially for those that may feel intimidated to speak in larger groups about certain topics or challenges that may be arising in your career. Ray Fellows will also be expected to attend regular mentorship meetings. This will be peer-to-peer, internal, and external. All of these connections will help aid you in your personal and professional growth. And speaking of professional growth, we will also have monthly professional development calls, which we call PD calls, and this will be catered to honing your skills as a professional. In relation to honing those skills that we're talking about, you will be developing a work plan in year 1 and a personal leadership plan, which we call the PLP, in year 2. Next slide, please. Some other events that you will be looking forward to attending is a virtual orientation. This is where you'll get acquainted more with the fellowship, its goals, and you'll also be introduced to your other fellow mates. We'll also have an in-person welcome retreat, meet and greet. This will be a chance for you to meet everyone in person, including the Ray staff. And we're hoping this is where we can really start fostering that sense of community and connection. In addition, there will also be a 3-day mid-fellowship retreat. This will occur at the midpoint, so 1 year into your retreat, and that's when you'll get to experience a 3-day trip, location TBD, which will provide an opportunity for reflection, learning, and strengthening with your peers. And it's important for us to mention all of this to you because as a Ray Fellow, you're not only contributing to your host organization, but you're also actively engaging in fellowship-related activities and events. So it's important to realize that it's twofold. You're sharing time with your work, but also with your fellows. Yeah, and so now that I've given you a good taste of the benefits and the responsibilities, I'm going to pass it back to Emma.
Oh, you're muted. Sorry, dear.
There we go, because of course I am muted. Thank you for that. So in terms of applicant eligibility, we ask that you come from a racial or ethnic background that has been historically excluded or in general historically excluded communities or otherwise underrepresented in conservation and clean energy sectors. We also ask that you demonstrate a commitment to the values of IDEAL. So again, that's inclusion, diversity, equity, access, and liberation. We also ask that you be less than 3 years out of college. So this is for folks who have graduated after May 2021. Previously, we only accepted applications from candidates who were within 1 year of graduating. So now we're changing this to welcome a broader range of applicants. Of course, this also allows for folks who might have applied in previous years and maybe they got to a certain round, but then didn't get selected. So this is better serving a diverse community that has a wide range, a diverse range of life experiences as well. So again, we also say that you have not had a full-time job in the conservation or clean energy sectors. It's okay if you've had a full-time job in another arena, but as long as you haven't had a full-time job in conservation or clean energy. And also have the ability to work in the United States and commit to the entire fellowship. Next slide, please. So this is the application timeline. Of course, you can read it, but I will also read it. So February 29th, which is today, we have the info session, which is right now, and the application has opened or is slated to be opened. If I have not checked that yet, I should probably know that, my bad. I think Nia says it is. Oh, so many things that are happening in the background and foreground. So March 15th is the second round of job descriptions being posted. So please do check back on our website for that. We have another info session later in March. April 5th is when application is closed. I believe that is midweek, a Wednesday. And if we do end up extending, which I don't think we have plans to as of yet, but we did last year. If we're extending, we will be sure to let everyone know that we are extending applications. The candidate screening rather will be April 15th through 19th, and then late April, to early May, the host organizations will be interviewing candidates. We have the initial internal RAY team screening, and then we will be forwarding along selected candidates to be interviewed by the host organizations. Selected fellows will be notified in late May, and then we have a virtual orientation for cohort 9 in mid-June. And then in late August, there will be an in-person orientation for cohort 9. And so you'll be joining a network of peers and fellows. Hopefully, maybe this is a long-term career choice. And so we hope that you'll find community through shared experiences of growth and rediscovery. So yes, next slide, please.
Hey, this is me. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the application process and how to apply. So just so you know, applicants will receive an email whether or not they've been selected by the second week of April. So you won't be left hanging. You will know whether or not you have been selected or not. Finalists will receive a phone, an invite to a phone screening, and that will take place about early to mid-April. And we will choose up to 5 finalists for each org, or I guess for each job posting. And those interviews from the org will take place late April to early May. Next slide, please. To apply, you must first click on the form, which is open now, and fill out the first intake information, and that includes your college transcript and your resume. Those are required. The next part of the application is to submit your essay responses on a second page of the application. There will be a link to it. So the first link is just the intake form. You fill out your information that's required. And then the second link will have the Google form that has where you will submit your essay responses. And it also has the list of the questions beforehand so that you can see them before you click the link. Please know that your application will not be considered complete if that first part of the intake form is not complete. Tips to ensure that your information does not get deleted is to, like I said, on that first application, before you're directed to click the Google form link of the essays, all of the essay questions are there. If you could please, or it would be helpful, to write out your responses to the essay questions in a different Word document, and then submit them later. That way you don't lose any work. Next slide, please. And just some application tips. Make sure you're checking our social media, our website, in mid-March for more postings. As it was shown in the timeline, there will be two periods of job applications. The first ones have already been posted, and the second second job postings, using application too much, will be posted March 15th. Keep in mind that you only have the opportunity to submit applications to 3 orgs or 3 job postings. So it would probably be a good idea to wait till the second batch of job postings have been posted. That way you can have a better pool of positions. The next is to check our FAQ page for any information that you can find there. And also you can always reach out to us at ray@elpnet. It goes to all of us, and we always forward it to the correct person who can answer it if we cannot do so ourselves. Next slide.
All right, had to unmute there. Okay, so I will be pasting a link in the chat, and this is to a Google Drive folder that has the slides, as well as it will have the recording of this. So like I said, if you miss anything, this is the link where you can find that, along with like some other information like our timeline, our application process. You can find that at that link. I will also be emailing it out after this, so even like if you close a window and lose this Google Drive link, no worries, you will get a copy of that again via email. And so, yeah, so keep an eye on that, as well as our website, where we will also be posting this this recording of the webinar session there as well. And you can see previous ones, so you can see, you know, the flow and the change of the program, how it has been over the past few years. And yeah, we've done a lot of talking. So now we're going to open it up for you all to ask any questions. I know it was a whole lot of information you just received. Hopefully you have some questions that we can get squared away for you all. So feel free to put them in the chat or use the raise hand function, and then you can come off mute and ask them, and we will have Tia moderating, keeping an eye on what questions are coming in, and we will call on you in order of received.
We have a question in the chat. It's from Tanya. I hope I'm pronouncing their name right. It says, "Thank you all for the information. Apologies if you answered this, but is there only a single interview by the host organization, or are there technically 2, one by Ray program and one by the host org?" If I'm not wrong, there's 3 technically. There's the phone screening, as well as the interview with Ray and the host organization, correct?
Interview. So the phone screening is just the phone screening that we're doing internally, and then we're forwarding the folks on to the host orgs for interviews. Yeah, that's what you said, I think.
It is. Technically, there's like 3, but yes, you're correct. There's only those 2 formal interviews with the Ray program and the host org. No more questions? Well, I have some questions. If you're willing to come off or put them in the chat. What made you, or where did you hear about Ray from? Like, what made you interested in the Ray program? Let's go. Taya?
Hi. Yeah, Tay's my name. I'm sorry, I raised my hand just as you asked your question. I had another question.
Oh, go ahead. You can do that.
And I'll answer yours as well. My first question was how the Ray chooses which of the like 3 designated jobs a fellow is pushed towards if we only have like 1 interview. And I was lucky enough to hear about the Ray from my career services office. So that's how I heard about this. And I saw your guys' Instagram story about this info session today.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I can answer. So we ask in the application process for candidates to list their top three choices of positions that are of course going to be what they can investigate on our website with the position as the last few positions are posted in mid-March. So from those positions, you choose your top 3, and we're going to be, we of course score for a wide range of qualities. Transformational potential and growth potential is one of them. And so there is no guarantee that you would get your top choice, but again, that's why we ask candidates to choose their top 3. I don't know if that explicitly answers your question, just that there's no official like matching process. It's like you have listed these top and we're gonna try and match it as the applications come in.
I will add that that will also be based off of what that host org is looking for, what type of fellow they're looking for, what they're interested in. So it will be geared towards that. I see another question in the chat is from Grace. It says, what opportunities have you seen people grow into after this fellowship? We have so many people that have gone on to be super, super famous. For instance, Black Girl Environmentalist is one. In ELP, what were their names? Emo, we were just talking to everyone yesterday. That have gone on and like done some really great things. Even in our org, for cohort 8, one of our fellows, Rob, just posted his first blog. We have Myra, who is literally was on national TV reading her spoken poetry. We have a lot of them that are hosting webinars at their orgs and tabling at conferences. I mean, they're all out. I think Dion was doing salmon restoration, or he's doing salmon restoration next month.
They've been like fundraising.
Fundraising.
Mm-hmm.
They've been doing a lot of things. When we did our trip to New Orleans, the mid-year, which we just had in January, it got pushed back a little bit, but we did our mid-year retreat in New Orleans, and some of them from C7 stayed behind to do, it was restoration, but I forgot. Oh, Cypress restoration in New Orleans after our retreat. So they are on the ground and going out and doing all different types of things. Your PDs, which it says professional development, but it's also personal development. So even if you find something that you wish to do, that's a PD opportunity, but it doesn't necessarily have to do with your job and your job description, but it has a lot to do with your growth potential. You can always utilize those funds for that.
I also want to add that we even have fellows that are like working within the ELP network, like we mentioned earlier. and even on the board of this organization and others as well.
There was a question from Rosie that says, does the program accept F1 students with OPT STEM? I'm not quite sure I know what that means.
I'm not sure what that means either.
Rosie, do you want to come off and kind of explain?
Oh, yeah, hi. So, F1 student or student like study abroad in the United States, and we have like 3 years working in the United States after graduation. So, yeah, that's basically about F1 student.
I'm not quite sure about that one, but we can always look into it. I believe the answer, if you're still going to be in the United States for 3 years, then I believe the answer is yes, but we can always check in with our DPO, Chris, and that's the director of people operations, and she can help direct us. So actually, if you would like, I could I'll write down your name and follow. Oh,
Why
yes.
not jump in? Like, yes, if you have like, you can verify your work eligibility, that should be able to work for most of our organizations. And you can find additional information to answer those kinds of questions on the website. If you go to rayfellowship.org/apply, we talk about DACA, we talk about I-9s, and even the OPTs as well.
Good.
Okay,
Jump
yeah,
ahead.
that's perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much.
We have a comment from Scarlett who says that they have been searching for environmental internships and stumbled across Ray 2 years ago and have this program in mind ever since. And I'm so happy you were able to find us. Spread the word. Something that we didn't mention and I forgot, I think it was my part, is that we are now choosing applicants that are 3 years instead of 1 years out of college. And that is to help people. Sometimes people apply the first time and it's directly outside of college and they're not exactly ready. They need to build up some skills. And sometimes you might have to go to work right after college, undergrad, and you can't get to it. So to meet the needs of recipients like that, we have increased the out of college year to 3 years. So as long as you have not, you are graduated after spring 2021. Okay, and then I see a question from Idris. I think I said that right. And it says, thank you for the wonderful info session. I was wondering if references or recommendation letters will be needed for the application. Also, I learned about Ray last year through DDCSP. Yay! Alumni Network. Yeah. We love that connection. And as far as a recommendation, yes, that does happen in the process. I believe it would be
From the host organization.
Yeah.
So we don't require it as a part of the application itself, but it is something that you just want to have in the back of your mind to tell your recommenders that this is something that is coming, because
Right.
some of the host organizations will likely want to review recommendation letters.
We have another comment from Tanya who writes, I recently had a call with someone who worked at Pew and she mentioned that she worked alongside the Ray Fellows place with her team. I'm so grateful she referred me to this program because it's truly unique. And I love that these people exist. Yes, we have so many fellows. There's actually, I only remember one right now, and that's Hannah. She's always in like the front of mine. Now I feel really bad, but we do have a bunch of fellows that have worked with Pew. Even the fellows that are working in other orgs. So like we have a bunch of C7 cohorts. C7 fellows in the DC area, Boston area, and they all know each other and their orgs work with each other. So there's a lot of cross work within the organizations. Thank you, Grace, for your comment. I believe that is how you pronounce her name, says, how many applicants do you guys usually get? This is my first year with recruitment, so I'm going to refer to Ema.
Fair
How
enough. Yeah, so let's see. The last couple of years, I have seen over 100, like almost maybe 150 applicants. And now that we're widening up the pool, I'm actually kind of scared, low key, but it's still gonna be great. And it's however many we get, we are very grateful and happy that there's like a lot of interest in the fellowship.
So happy. And we have one. I didn't know Chris was in here. Chris. Chris asked the question. Chris is our DPO. Chris asked the question of if you can apply out of a bachelor's or can you have an associate's degree to apply? And actually, I'm not quite sure.
Right
Yes.
now it is just bachelors. As we like continue to do work with our partners and trying to open up these passageways, we're gonna see if we can get some associate's degree in, but right now it is bachelor's degree
Yep.
and no graduate degree yet. So this will be like before grad school, after you get your undergrad bachelor's degree.
Ariana.
Hi, thank you so much for this info session. I'll answer the question first of how I found out about the Ray Fellowship, which was through the Seattle chapter of in the Environmental Professionals of Color. Some folks in there told me about it, which was awesome. I'm so happy to be here. I had two questions. One being folks who are going to graduate in June of 2024 are able to apply?
Yes.
Question mark? Okay,
Yes.
great.
So long as
Um,
you're graduating after or did not graduate before May 2021, you should be good. It's just if you get selected, once you get in there, then we'll just need like proof of graduating and
Okay.
you're good to go. Mhm.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, as long as you're receiving it by the time you start.
Yes.
If you're
Okay.
selected.
Okay, perfect. And then the second question, I know that for part of the application, there's kind of like a creative, well, you can be creative with your response. And I'm kind of curious, like, if there's examples of some things that you have received, or like what is like a standout example of if you can share that. I'm just curious about what kind of stands out.
I haven't seen them personally, but speaking into the fellows and they've told me. I know that we've had poetry. Someone or two people actually did a rap. There were some zine projects, like collages. Some people wrote like typical essays, which is fine. There were videos, Ima, Nia.
Yeah, I saw links to like YouTube videos of poetry, YouTube videos of like a day in the life kind of deal. There were, so yeah, Tia, you talked about the rap. There was also, I want to say, a podcast, an example of a podcast. Like, this is like into the future, and this is what this person, this candidate will be doing, kind of style. That was the style of the podcast. I remember someone did like a newspaper clipping and they like inserted like how I have made a change in the environmental sector into like 2074 or something like that. So all that to say, there is a wide range of ways that you could do that piece, very creatively, whatever speaks to your skill set, whatever speaks to your interests, personal and professional. We want to see it. We want to see it all.
Great. Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking the question.
See if we have any more questions. Please know that this is not your only time to ask any questions. I believe it's the next slide, Nia. It has our contact information. You can reach us any of these ways. Again, we all get the Ray at ELPnet email, so you could get reached out to any of us. Okay, here's a question, Anna or Anna.
Hi, thank you all for sharing. I actually had two questions. So the first is, I am a recent college graduate, currently in a 14-month conservation fellowship. Does that count as a full-time job, or am I still eligible to apply?
Um, if it's we would have to think about that, because if it's a full-time fellowship, that would likely count as a like existing job in the field.
Okay,
But
that's all good.
yeah, that's a good
I
question.
think it would depend on like what your roles were and how many hours maybe. If you could send us some more information, we can look into that for you.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, I'll follow up there. And then also for fellows placed in host organizations that are predominantly white, how do you support fellows in navigating those dynamics?
Ooh, good question. So I can speak to that a little bit. We do have onboarding for the supervisors, like an onboarding orientation in the summer before the fellows start, that sort of gets at, you know, this is how we're thinking of inclusivity. This is how we're thinking of, as the RAY program to the supervisors and host organizations, this is how we're thinking of like being a safe space for the fellow. So we have that initial onboarding conversation, and then we also have like monthly supervisor calls where we go over topics again, such as like inclusive representation for host organizations, like inclusive interviews and inclusive and equitable ways of being a supervisor. Does that help answer your question, or should I elaborate more?
That's great, thank you.
Awesome, awesome.
I also wanted to jump in really quick to back up what Ema was saying. Anna, this is Chris with ELP. I also wanted to just let you know that we support the fellows directly within the cohort calls, as we do cover these topics and we address these sort of issues of self-advocacy. There has been requests about like covering imposter syndrome in the workplace, how you request a raise, how do you, show your work, but also make time for your mental health, things like that. So we do cover these topics, and we also meet with fellows one-on-one if needed. If they need support in the organization where they feel like they're being marginalized for some reason, we advocate for them as well. And we help them to like make a bridge with their organization if there are some rocky moments, to try to alleviate that so that the fellowship can continue.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris. That was helpful addition. It's like from both sides, both the supervisor side and the fellow side.
Yes.
All sides, really.
I wanted to jump in and also say that you have like your mentorship network, your fellow network, your pods, assist staff, always, available to help, mediate issues, talk through issues, anything that you come across, you have the support of the entire Ray network.
I'm going to answer this question from Tanya, who asked if AmeriCorps programs count towards a full-time job too. You would be ineligible if it was a full-time job in conservation and clean energy. AmeriCorps is healthcare, if I'm not mistaken. So you should be okay, if I'm not mistaken, right?
It depends. AmeriCorps, they have different things. So it depends on what it is. If it was specifically in clean energy and conservation, then no. But if it was something else or maybe adjacent, then I believe you'd be eligible.
And again, you can always message us and we can check into that with you for so that we can see. And also I want to acknowledge Taya's hand again. You can ask Taya.
Yeah, thank you. I just had another question on the benefits you guys spoke of. I know that like salary is something that changes placement to placement, but I was wondering if benefits are provided by the Ray, and if so, like an idea of what those benefits would look like.
You mean health benefits?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have some federal fellows, and if you were a federal fellow, then your health benefits would come from the Ray program. However, if you're not a federal fellow, then it would be from your host org. And I'm not quite sure about the benefits that they add. I don't know if anybody else can speak to that.
So yeah, it should be like a standard benefits package that includes vision, dental, health, care insurance. That is what I have seen in the various like job descriptions from previous years, but again, that'll be something that you can discuss more, you know, when the time comes for that discussion to happen, like closer to the interview process and like deliberation process for selecting the candidates.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It is 6:56 and it's almost coming time to an end, but I just wanted to see if anybody else had anything they wanted to share. This could be another question or what you thought of this session or anything else you're thinking about. Again, that question is open. How'd you learn about the RAY program? We love to hear anything. Going once. Going twice. Oh, maybe something. Oh no, thank you all. We enjoyed having you here. And again, we hope to see some of you in the fellowship, or hopefully maybe all of you. We never know how things get down. If you have any questions, just please reach out to us. Thank you all.